Happy Halloween, everybody. My name is Jennifer Marsh, and while I normally like to talk about legal data and things related to that, because it's Halloween, I went out and found a data set that's related to Halloween from Kaggle, which I believe originally is from the Department of Agriculture, related to pumpkins. And what I want to do here is just show you what it would be like to explore a data set that I have absolutely no knowledge about before today. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. What if you wanted to do this yourself, what you would need would be the pumpkin CSV. And I can, if I find a link, I'll put that in the comments for that so you can get it from the same place I got it from. And then also I will drop the code to my GitHub in the comments as well. If you do have Jupyter Notebooks, which is what I'm doing this in, and you wanted to try it yourself and play around, I'll give you all the stuff so you can do that. But this is pretty basic when it comes to data exploration. The first thing that you would want to do is import the libraries that you may want to use as well as the CSV. So that's what I'm doing here in the first one. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. Then once you load that in, you just want to check it and see that it's in there and what the first few rows look like. You would do that by head. So you can see here, this is the CSV that's loaded. It has a city name and some of the other columns or all the other columns that you can see here. Now, the next thing I'd want to do is I want to check what the data types are for these columns. So I'm going to do pumpkins.info to do that. And the reason why I want to do that is because you see here in data type, there's object, which is a text-based type, and then there's float, and float and integer are numbers. So if you wanted to do things like average, which is mean or median or things like that, you would need to do that on numbers. And so you need to know which columns have the numbers in them. So I just want to check that. And then I just kind of want to see how big this data set is. So it's 1,757 rows, fairly small, with 26 columns. So then if you notice here, they have a few different columns related to price. Now, I don't know this data set, so I don't know why they did this. But you have a low price, a high price, a mostly low, and a mostly high. I don't know why they differentiated that way, but we can play around with it nonetheless. So I wanted to see maybe a distribution of the low price column. So I can do that with a histogram. And I'll look at that. Okay, so you see that there's some really cheap pumpkins out there, a whole bunch of them. Maybe there's little baby ones. And then you see there's a bunch kind of here in the middle. All right, now I want to see the same thing with the high priced. Okay, what I do notice, even though there's different columns, is that the shape is somewhat similar to the high price and the low price. Okay. And then one other thing that I might want to look at is I noticed that there was a column in there for color. So, normally I think of pumpkins being orange, but what kind of color pumpkins are they talking about in here? Okay, they have orange pumpkins, white pumpkins, and striped pumpkins. Okay. And then maybe I also want to look at the different varieties of pumpkins that this data set is talking about. And I'm using unique to tell me what the different values, the unique values in that column are, the different types of varieties. I have no idea anything about varieties of pumpkins, but there you go. Knucklehead, Big Mac type, mixed heirloom varietals, miniature, blue type. Okay. All right. And then they have different sizes. They have a column on sizes. So let's take a look at that. What kind of sizes? Okay, they're doing large, medium, small, extra large, medium, large, jumbo. Some don't have a value, and extra jumbo. Okay. Then let's get into some questions. Like, for example, if I wanted to see this city with the highest average price for pumpkins, what I'd want to do, so I'm actually just going to load a smaller data set with just certain columns, the city name, low price, and high price. And then if I wanted to group those by city and do an average and sort them, I could do that. So I could answer that question: who has the highest Average price for pumpkins. Let's take a look. Boston. Yikes. Friends in Boston, you're going to be paying a lot for pumpkins. That's unfortunate. Okay, so what about if on color? Interesting. These are the different prices for average prices for orange versus striped versus white pumpkins. What if I wanted to know something like, where do most pumpkins come from? Pennsylvania. Who knew? Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then California are where they're from. And then other things I could do here is do some distributions. Okay, this is a histogram by size and a histogram by color. So again, this is a data set I'm unfamiliar with, but this is how I would go about starting to explore that data set. I will give you the code if you want to take a look at it yourself and start poking around. You just need a Jupyter Notebooks and the CSV, and you're good to go. Thanks, and check out my other videos, and have a great Halloween. Be careful out there.